Jenifer had decided to take a nice long walk. At sunset, she'd hike to her favorite place in the whole world. Viewpoint Rock High on a hill above her summer camp. And now she sits on the big sturdy rock and looks out over the landscape. Her summer camp sits beside a large round lake with green trees all around. From up here she can see the camp's buildings way down below. They were built a long time ago with wood from the birch fir and aspen trees in the surrounding forest. She sees the cafeteria where all the yummy food is made. Then she spots the gymnasium where all the campers play games and run around. Finally, she sees the bunkhouse where she'll soon be settling in for the night. From this height, the buildings all look like little yellow and blue squares. They were freshly painted before camp started this year, so the colors are bright and cheerful. There is plenty of space between all the buildings, which are nestled in the grass. At the lakeside, Jenifer loves watching her camp from above, as if she were one of the hawks or ravens soaring lazily overhead. They're taking their last flight of the evening before heading back to their nest for the night. And as the birds begin to land on the branches of the nearby trees, Jenifer knows it will soon be time for her to go to bed too. But first she takes a big deep breath. She feels the air fill her lungs and move around her body like magic. She smells the pollen in the air and the rich aroma of pine trees. She even notices the familiar scent of the lake water from down below the air. Here smells so different from back home. It is fresh and woodsy and makes her think of fun friendship and the happiness of summer then. Before starting her hike back to Camp, Jenifer closes her eyes just for a moment and listens closely. She hears the sounds of her fellow campers laughing and talking in the distance, and the trees rustling gently in the wind, and the wildlife cozying up for bedtime. It's like her own forest symphony. But when Jenifer hears the clanging of the evening bell down below, she realizes that her bedtime is closer than she thought, and she doesn't want to be late. It's easy to lose track of time in such a wonderful place. So Jenifer laces up her sneakers and begins to make her way back to the trail that will lead her to camp. While she's walking down the dirt path, she sees a rope swing that she and her friends built in a tree last summer. It sways back and forth in the breeze. She daydreams about her friends laughing their legs, pumping up and down. As they swing higher and higher, Jenifer walks over to the rope swing and kicks off from the ground. She feels the wind against her face as she soars above the tree branches. The cool nighttime breeze meets the warm daytime air up here. After a few swings, she comes to rest back on the ground with a happy smile. She ties the rope to a branch to secure it and says goodnight to the rope swing, knowing she'll be back soon with her friends. Continuing down the trail, Jenifer turns back to catch a glimpse of the sign for Viewpoint Rock, where she was just sitting. She remembers being a younger camper all those years ago back then. She wasn't strong enough yet to scamper all the way to the top of the hill and the giant rock. Now she's the fastest hiker in the bunkhouse. She can't wait to tell her friends about the amazing view she saw up there today. But looking at the sign now, she notices that something is a little bit different. Then she realizes what it is. The sign is crooked and pointing people to another trail that goes in a completely different direction she had noticed before, because she knows the way by heart that has to be fixed, so no one gets lost. She thinks to herself. Jenifer uses both of her hands to twist the signpost until it points in the right direction toward the Viewpoint Rock Trail. When she's finished, she steps back and looks at her work. It's perfect. She smiles and wishes the sign and the trail to her favorite place. Goodnight, Jenifer continues on her journey. After all, she still has a long way to go before she gets back to the bunkhouse. And there are so many things she'd like to say goodnight to along the way. As she walks, she follows the stream. Evening light shimmers on the water, reminding Jenifer of the little fish she saw darting around earlier today. "Good night, fish," she whispers. The stream passes over some rocks as it empties into the lake, and where the two bodies of water meet, Jenifer bends down. She cups her hands together and fills them with the cool, refreshing water. She splashes it against her face. It feels wonderful on her skin, and that's when Jenifer notices that a bright red canoe has started to float away from the nearby dock. Maybe someone forgot to tie it up when they were finished. Finished with it, she thinks, Jenifer walks onto the dock, which creaks and groans with every step. When she reaches the end, she picks up a canoe paddle and then stretches as far over the water as she can. Luckily, it's far enough that the paddle handle can reach the side of the canoe. With a gentle tug, Jenifer is able to smoothly guide it back across the water toward her. It floats next to the dock, and she walks alongside it until it reaches the shore, when the bottom is barely touching the gravel below. Jenifer lets go of the paddle and wades into the water. She pulls the canoe higher onto the bank where the grass begins there. She slides it smoothly back until it's safe and sound. Then she turns it upside down to dry off with a wave. She says goodnight to the canoe and continues making her way back to the bunkhouse. But before she gets there, Jenifer notices that someone has left out their archery equipment. A group of arrows sits in the sand, and one of the bowls is lying next to it. It would be good for her to put these away so they're safe until morning, she thinks. As she starts to pick them up, Jenifer can't help but take one of the arrows and put it in the bow. She pulls back the bowstring until it's stretched. She takes aim at the target, which hangs over a bale of hay, closing one eye for focus. She lets the arrow fly and it hits the bullseye. She smiles at this, feeling accomplished. Then she gathers up the rest of the arrows and the bow, placing them together in a plastic bucket for storage. Then she whispers goodnight. When she looks up at the sky again, she sees that the sun has started to fall behind the trees. The entire camp is bathed in a pretty pink glow overhead. Jenifer sees a faint crescent moon, and the first of the stars and planets beginning to shine. It makes her wonder what it would be like to fly away into the sky like a rocket ship. Maybe that's what she'll dream about tonight. She thinks. Jenifer continues walking toward the main camp buildings, her home for the summer. She makes her way straight for bunkhouse B, where her sleeping bag, stuffed animal, and favorite pillow are waiting for her. It stands next to the biggest pine tree she's ever seen. On windy days, the needles fall onto its sloping roof like snowflakes. But Jenifer doesn't make it to the bunkhouse quite yet. That's because she sees that someone has left the gate to the horse stables open. One of the horses has gotten out and is now standing in a patch of grass, munching away on an evening snack. This grass is normally used for playing soccer or freeze tag, with campers running this way and that. Now Jenifer appreciates the horse all by itself, looking like it owns the field. Its brown tail swishes lightly back and forth as it chews, careful not to surprise the horse as she approaches. Jenifer makes a clicking sound with her tongue that she recently learned to do. The horse recognizes that she's calling to it, even though it's reluctant to give up its meal. It turns to face her, and when Jenifer takes hold of its reins, the horse walks patiently with her back to the stables. Soon it joins the rest of the horses, drinking some water inside. Jenifer says goodnight to the horse and its friends, and she says the same to the chickens in the nearby coop, and to the sweet barn cat, whose name is Snuffles. Jenifer pauses outside the stable doors to take a deep breath. Her mind begins to calm as the stillness of the evening surrounds her. A few minutes later, she's tiptoeing into her bunkhouse. She can already hear the soft breathing of her bunkmates. Sleep, her favorite camp counselor has just finished putting most of the campers to bed. The counselor waves to Jenifer as she walks quietly inside, giving her a big hug. When she reaches the door, the counselor's hair is curly and her glasses are as round as the lake. Then she whispers goodnight to Jenifer and lets her settle into her bunk. Jenifer slides into her sleeping bag and puts her soft, fluffy pillow under her head. She cuddles her stuffed animal, making sure is snuggled comfortably in bed with the blankets tucked around it. Closing her eyes, she remembers the wind against her face and the birds gliding through the air. She remembers the ROP swing lazily drifting back and forth and the stream burbling toward the lake. She remembers the canoe and the bow and arrows and the horse tucked away in its cozy stable. And she thinks about the stars and the planets and the imaginary rocket ship flying through space. Good night, camp. She whispers ever so quietly. Then Jenifer drifts off into a deep and happy sleep.